Monday, and we talk technology at this time with Luis Alvarez of the Alvarez Technology Group. Good morning, Luis.
Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Doing pretty good. We have a great story today, really something interesting. The National Security Agency is warning everyone that something called Bluekeep is a big vulnerability in not only Windows XP, but Windows 7, really dangerous. What do you know about this?
Yeah, this is a very unusual step. In fact, I quite frankly have never heard of the NSA issuing an alert of this type inside the United States. Typically, the NSA is focused on foreign intelligence and not doing anything domestically. But last week, they issued an advisory with a certain amount of urgency, stressing that people should take care to patch a vulnerability in Windows XP and Windows 7 and Server 2008 that makes them vulnerable against something called Bluekeep, which is a wormable virus. So that means that it's the kind of virus that once it infects a network, worms its way through the entire network internally before it actually starts its destructive behavior. And it's so powerful and so invasive that the NSA took this very unusual step of warning people.
Now, does it brick your machine?
Yeah, it's a typical ransomware system, but not only does it encrypt data files, it's also been known to encrypt other files, things like system files and DLLs and things that a PC depends on. So in and of itself, it can literally brick your PC and force you to basically wipe everything out and start from scratch.
Wow. How do you get Bluekeep?
Well, it's exploiting a vulnerability within something called Remote Desktop Protocol, or RDP. And RDP is something that people use to remotely access their PCs. And over the last few years, it's been pretty typical for people to enable this port on their firewall so that they can work from home, if you will. They remote desktop into their PC in the office. And that's a very dangerous thing to do because that's exactly what Bluekeep exploits. So in addition to patching your PCs and making sure that they're current and up to date with all their patches, you should also check your firewalls and make sure that you're not enabling port 3389 for RDP through the firewall, because that creates its own vulnerability.
Now, would that be a situation if you're using something like Cisco AnyConnect that you have to be familiarized with this?
Yeah, if you're using a VPN client like AnyConnect, then you avoid the whole port 3389 hold in the firewall. But just in general, we tell people, for our clients, we disable port 3389 on any system that's on the network unless it's absolutely necessary, because it is a vulnerability and it is something that if you don't need it, why enable it?
Right. And where do you find the Windows update to make sure that your machine is updated for this patch?
If you go into Control Panel and Updates, you'll see the Windows Update option, and you can click that. Hopefully you have it automatically enabled, and that means that your patches have been coming in. But a lot of people disable it because they don't want to be inconvenienced by a PC rebooting during the day. But if you haven't applied your patches in a while, or your network administrator hasn't checked, make sure to ask them to see where they're at in the patching and make sure that you apply the patches that prevent this particular exploit.
All right. Sound advice from Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, online, alvareztg.com. At AlvarezTG is the Twitter handle. Luis, the toll-free number for the I-Team.
Give us a call at 866-78-I-Team. That's 866-784-8326.